still in contact with Mrs. Bruno. We talk all the time.
Call the fire marshal.
That's right. I know, right? All right. Between him and the band, yes, sir. Renegade story number 2. All right, so we're on 14th Street at a now closed restaurant. Me and Renegade are in the booth, and he's writing as usual. Across in the next booth, right behind us, is what clearly sounds like a college professor with his students, and the guy is going on about physics. These are students in his physics class, and at some point as I'm talking to Joel, and if you know him, you'll know when he gets that thing where he leaves you, he turns around and he's wearing all black hat, and he says to the professor, what you just told your students is completely wrong. The dude is looking like, well, who's this tall black guy talking to me and why? And then Renegade starts to name all these physics theories and the writers. And finally the guy says, well, yeah, perhaps I think you're right, I made a mistake. And I'm sitting there like, what the fuck? Anyway, that's Renegade number 2. That's a true story. So his intellect, Renegade's intellect is really epic and iconic. Don't play him short, okay? This is, thanks to Sammy, I debuted a poem here a few months ago about my uncle and namesake, Kenneth Carrol. Yeah. And Pepe was behind me. We got that. That's on the American Poetry Museum YouTube site if you want to go back and look at it. But it was a poem about my uncle who was 13 years old and drowned in a segregated pool in Washington, D.C. in 1952. And his drowning and death led to the desegregation of D.C. Playgrounds and recreational facilities. I'm working on a series of pieces around that moment and based on newspaper articles I'm researching. So this piece is called The Affray, and it's told in the voice of Walter T. Lucas. The poem is called Walter's Say. Got off early. Boss said to be careful. There wasn't nothing to be careful about. I was just going to be standing with the good folks who, like me, thought that no 13-year-old colored boy should drown in a swimming pool for white folks built in a colored neighborhood. I told the Corps and the NAACP folks, I ain't want no sign. I didn't need to learn no chance. I was just gonna stand, like I did in the elevator all day, taking folks up and down. I remember Sister Carrol, night shift worker at St. Elizabeth's, always the good word. Husband drove a 49 Bel Air. If they wasn't in church, you could find them on their porch. Hellos and how you doing for everybody passing by. At the funeral at Pilgrim Baptist, I don't recall what I said, but I know it wasn't enough to comfort for losing a youngest child to Jim Crow that wasn't supposed to exist around here. So that's all I was doing, standing with my neighbors, while a bunch of them rowdy white boys stood inside the playground, some weighing rocks and bricks in their hands, some had bats, all defending the playground in the neighborhood where they didn't live. I live across the street. I can hear the white children every day. It's a nice sound, children happy. Well, if you don't consider that the happy voices are saying you don't belong here. Honeysuckles grew up both sides of them fences built to keep Negroes out the playground. I guess that's how I was protesting, just to be out there, to be natural with it. And maybe me and the honeysuckles wasn't gonna do much to break down that fence. Well, long come I hear some big mouth white boy, the one with the bat, his friends called him Rocco. He said something odd, like, I'm from Newton Street and we don't believe in swimming with colors. I don't know if he was saying it to me. Seemed like everything was a buzz until I could barely make out my own voice saying clearly, "You're a long way from home, white boy. Maybe you should go and protect Brooklyn." He come round that fence quick as hatred, the bat on his shoulder like the Senator's Jackie Jensen about to hit a home run. Well, he caught me flush. I stepped back 2 paces, rocks and bricks caught my face. Police didn't move a muscle. I heard the colored and white folks in the crowd calling for the cops, probably like the folks that called the watchman to save Sister Carrol's son. As far as I know, they just sat there. And I couldn't help but think, maybe the fellas whooping on me hadn't heard me right. But by the time I realized I was bleeding, blood inside and outside my mouth, I was already to my car. The glove compartment opened. A few seconds later, 2 shots from my .38, and every white person from the crowd was suddenly listening to me, like I was Harry Truman and free as them honeysuckles on both sides of that fence.